Hello and welcome back to Thalric Plays Blood Bowl 2. Today we're going to play another match with our Skaven team. So what I want to do first is buy our 4th Gutter Runner. So for that we will move around our players because I want them to be in the correct order. And then we'll get our last Gutter Runner, which we will name Panic. Because that is what we are experiencing on a regular basis, apparently, with our Skaven so far. So let's just do that. So now we do have a complete team. We have 12 players. I will eventually go up to 13, I think. But not yet. So let's just try to find a match. I would be happy to find something else than Bretonnian for a change. We've been playing against them a lot lately, with the Skaven and the Lizardmen as well. So some variety would be nice. We have also not gotten any of the actual bash teams, I believe, so Chaos, Dwarves or Orcs. And having said that, of course we are now playing against Orcs. And their team value is a bit lower than ours, but not by much. So they should only be able to get a Babe, assuming they don't spend their own cash. We of course won't get any inducements, and we will have to wait while he decides what he wants to get. And he's going for the one Babe, and that should probably be it. He'll maybe spend 10,000 of his own cash to get a second one. No, he won't. So that's pretty much the ideal amount of petty cash you want to give your opponent. Well, the best amount would be between 10 and 40k, so that he actually can't buy anything. But if it is more than that, 90k is the optimum, because he still can get only one Babe and nothing else. And we are playing in our stadium. And I won't try to pronounce that team name, as I do not speak, I believe it is French. It looks like it to me, at least. Their armor does look pretty cool. And they have a goblin. I'm assuming they play with a troll as well then. And we get to choose. I believe we will... What do we want to do here? I think we will play defense. And I'll explain why shortly. Okay, he doesn't have a troll, but still has a goblin. Which is a bit strange, but not too much, I believe. Okay, so let us set up. I want to go back one more space in case of a quick snap. And because we have 4 Gutter Runners now, we of course also have exactly 3 linemen on the pitch now. We might keep one of our Gutter Runners off the pitch, but I think we should try and start with all of them in the beginning and see how that works out. It might not be the best choice on defense. Another player with strength 3 might be a better option, but I'm not quite sure about that. So we will stick with this. Or, you know, let's put our thrower out to keep him safe, and we'll just use him in our offensive drive. I'm tempted to put our gutter runners here again, but orcs aren't very fast, so I'm going to play it safe and protect our gutter runners this time. And we'll also put our skilled up gutter runners on the inside. And let's do this also. And now we will say hi. And we should also check his players, of course. So let's look at his Black Orcs. No skill, no skill. Okay, so his Black Orcs have nothing, and he actually has a Black Orc with strength 3, which he probably should have fired and went with a normal player, because a strength 3 Black Orc is not very good. A normal lineman is faster, has more agility, and the same amount of ammo value. But okay. So where are his skills? So far. Okay, so his goblin has armor value 6, but also block, so he rolled a double there. And his thrower has dodge, which is another double, I believe. And he also has a reserve lineman. And we get the blitz, which is very good. It might end up costing us, but we will still go full out and go after the ball as hard as we can. Let's not follow this. Well, okay, let's do this. And we will actually put Hysteria next to the ball. He can reach there without using a going for it. We will also pull up our defense here a bit. And let's put Panic over here. And we will keep Laughter in the back for now, I believe. And then we will use Cackle and go for the ball. We do need to make 2 going for it to get there. Let's see how the first works. If that fails, we might not do the second one. But it does, so we will attempt to do another one. And that works as well, which is awesome. Blitz is a really powerful kickoff event if you get it for yourself, and it can ruin entire games, and I have seen it ruin entire games. If you get a blitz against you 2 or 3 times in a match, which can happen with agility teams especially, as they tend to score a lot, and he's already writing about that this game is lost for him. As I said, the blitz can ruin games, but it's still just the first turn. Even if I manage to score now, it's far from over. And we have all seen what can happen with my Skaven. They tend to be off the pitch a lot. But he chooses to block with his Black Orcs first, which is risky, of course, because they don't have block yet, so he probably should be doing his first actions with his blitzers instead. In this case, that would mean a blitz, and he doesn't really have a good blitz option, but in my opinion, he should still prioritize getting the ball, or at least marking up my ball carrier, before he actually tries to block on the line of scrimmage here. It did work out for him, but he needed to use a reroll on the very first block. So now he's doing what he probably should have been doing at the beginning, so before actually blocking, which is moving his players to intercept my gutter runner. And we will have to wait and see if he can take the ball from us. He doesn't have very many options, and a blitz is just that much stronger when you get it with a team like Skaven, because they are just so fast. And we were just in range to actually pick up the ball. Slower teams like the Orcs themselves, or Dwarves, or even Chaos, wouldn't have been able to get there, so the blitz wouldn't have been as valuable for them. They still would have found other uses, like stopping the offensive before it can actually begin, so marking up players and stuff like that. But with Skaven we can actually go pretty aggressive, as we are very fast. And of course, so now he will attempt the one dice blitz here, but he ran out of time before he could actually do it. And I do hope that he won't give up. That would be pretty bad. And he already did. Okay, so well, that's a win. Unfortunately, no SPP through touchdowns. And we get a lot of winnings, and we now have a treasury of exactly 150,000. We also get a fan factor. I don't really care about the level. But we do get a level up, since Retastic got one of the MVPs and now has 10 SPP. And also Cackle, our ball carrier from just now, got the other MVP. But still, it's pretty disappointing that he just gave up like that, as Orcs can get very destructive, and he might just have bashed us off the pitch and won the game in the end. But that's just something we have to live with in this team value range. I hope that it will get better once we reach a higher team value. And of course, getting these conceits will get us there faster. But let's find out what we get as a level up. Okay, so we rolled a 10. I have to be honest, it's not that important for me to get armor value 9 or movement allowance of 8 on our Storm Vermin, at least not as a first skill. Plus movement allowance on a Storm Vermin can be very good, but it just slows down his development very much if we go for the characteristic as the first level up here. So I won't do that, but instead go for Mighty Blow, which is also an offensive choice. Guard would be the defensive choice, but I want to try to get him to 16 SPP as fast as possible, and Mighty Blow is our best option to get there. And we would get Mighty Blow either way along the line, and it is a solid first choice. So, of course, we just finished that match in one turn, so let's just do another one. And hopefully this time our opponent will be a bit more steadfast. And we get another bash team, Dwarves this time. This is potentially catastrophic for us. Dwarves are among the most solid starting teams in Blood Bowl. I would say they are the most solid starting team. Almost all of their players have block and tackle. They have armor value 9 all around, I believe, except for their troll slayers. They have frenzy on the troll slayers. The drawback is that they are very, very slow. If we can make use of our speed, we will outplay them very fast. But they can outbash us pretty heavily, and he will probably also have some mighty blow with his team value. So it probably won't be easy, but of course we will try our best, of course. And we get to set up in defense, which is of course what we want. And we will pretty much set up in the same way we did in our last match. Because I do believe that is a pretty solid lineup for us. And let us put Carl off the pitch again. I'm doing so, I didn't really explain it that much in the first game. I'm doing so because he's still, even though he only has agility 3, he's our best bet at picking up the ball and handling the ball at the moment because of his sure hands. So that is why I want to keep him safe while we play defense. And let's check his skills real quick. So nothing, that is a guard. That's a loner. Okay. Nothing, guard. What is that? Okay, so he's got Frenzy, Dauntless, Thick Skull, Block, Mighty Blow, Jump Up. Oh, he's got a double on this one. Nice. Guard. Mighty Blow. Leader. And Kickoff Return. Okay, so that's a pretty solid choice. And because he's got Dauntless, I will move our Red Ogre back. Because I don't want our Red Ogre to just be blocked away with Dauntless. I probably should have moved our guard lineman into the middle. It won't matter anyways, because he has very much guard. So he can pretty much outbash us anywhere, and we have to be very careful with the placement of our players to actually get the assists and get some decent dodges, blocks I mean. His runners are also very nicely skilled. Especially Kickoff Return is a very good choice for a runner on Dwarves. They are the fastest characters the Dwarves have, with a movement allowed of 6. And that they're the fastest says a lot, I believe. Okay, and we will kick here, of course. And now he can use Kickoff Return to get his runner closer. And we once more get the blitz. Okay, this is getting a bit ridiculous, but we won't complain, of course. The big question is, can we get a decent block here? And I believe we can. Since this player doesn't have guard, we can blitz from here and get the assist and the 2 dice to create an opening for our gutter runners to run through. A push is not what we wanted, but it is good enough. And we will... Yes, we have to follow. We still have to dodge here, but it's a blitzer, and the blitzers on a dwarf team don't actually have tackle. It's the longbeards, so they're standard linemen that have tackle from the get-go, which means we have a pretty good opportunity to dodge through here with minimal risk. And let's also put some pressure on there. Of course, wild animal means we won't move. I really don't want to reroll that. And I do believe we want to try and pick up the ball. The question is, with what player? I think we should screen the ball with Hysteria here. Keep Cackle back this time. And use Laughter to pick up the ball. Or move onto the ball. Of course, a catch is very unlikely as we are in 2 tackle zones. And we put ourselves in a lot of danger by moving over there. But I still want to try it. We don't catch the ball. We won't reroll that. Okay, so that scatter is not ideal for us. But even if he manages to get us away from here, he can't build a cage. So he'll either have to pass or just not be very safe in his positioning. But let's see what he will be able to do. He's starting with some blocks, which is a standard choice for Dwarves, as the whole team except the runners starts with block. Which of course means that he can block very reliably with almost his complete team. And he's gotten 2 armor breaks so far, luckily just stuns. He doesn't have any reserve players, which we knew already because of his loner. I'm assuming he's missing his second Troll Slayer. And he's only getting a push, but Troll Slayers do have Frenzy, so he gets a follow-up block. And that's a defender down. And another stun. And for some reason he went for panic. Now he's getting the defender down once more, so dodge is pretty much useless, unfortunately. He's doing a very good job at blocking in our gutter runners, but Hysteria does have 2 hats, so he can dodge on a 2+ into 1 tackle zone, which means we can dodge through here and still have it be a 2+ roll. But he also managed to pick up the ball and build a decent cage, which will make it harder for us to do anything. The big question is, what do we want to do now? And I believe we will go for the Red Ogre immediately. The Blitz, of course. The question is, do we want to do something else first? Having our gutter runners here is risky, and keeping and leaving them there is even more risky. But I feel that we have to go after the ball. So we will blitz here. And we immediately roll a 1. So we won't reroll that, obviously. It's still too early for that. It will allow him to build the cage that he wants to, which is not what we want, but it is what we get, so we will have to deal with it. we will dodge like this. And unfortunately that was a 1. And I will reroll that. That is good enough. The problem we are facing now is that he can just build up his cage and move down this way, because most of our players are over here. So that is somewhat of a problem. But we might still make something work with our Red Ogre in future turns. Can put some pressure on him. But we ran into the problem I talked about pretty much. Okay, so I don't really get why he's doing that. He won't be able to close that cage, I think. He does have a lot of guards, so we will still have a problem to get into the cage, but I'm curious to see what he will end up doing. Yeah, so a blitz is mandatory there, I believe. And he has to move a guard player into position first to secure a 2 dice. But I'm not sure. Let's see what he ends up doing. He didn't go over here as I thought he would. He maybe wants to get stay a bit away from our Red Ogre. But yeah. And that's the first injury. What does he get? The Gouged Eye, which is just a miss next game. We won't reroll that. Or use the Apothecary on that. It was our God lineman, unfortunately. But I already said when I got the skill that he probably won't live long after getting it. So that injury is probably just a preview of what is about to come. So now he's got a very solid cage, and we won't be able to break into that very easily. So we'll have to use our Red Ogre. But that also means that we have to deal with some blocks against the Red Ogre, probably. But if we remember, the big drawback of the Dwarves are they are very slow, so we don't actually need to stop him as much as slow him down enough to keep him away from scoring. And that's what we will try to do. And I hope that we can make it work as much as I'll hope. Unfortunately, we have to put our gutter runner here into a very dangerous situation, and we won't. Well, yes, we will. We will dodge here. I don't think he has tackle yet. No, he does not. So we will dodge here first. The only thing that could hurt us here would be a double 1, and we won't bank on that. So that worked. And that makes our defense a lot safer. That Longbeard, of course, does have tackle, so we won't dodge here for the moment. But we will try to break into his cage. And that's a 1 in Wild Animal again, so once again the Red Ogre is screwing us over pretty bad. And there's the 1. And this time we won't reroll that, we need our rerolls for later turns. And that's the double skull. So that's one of his rerolls gone. Okay, he's got 5 rerolls, I just realized that. So that's why his team value is as high as it did, and he just KO'd our Mighty Blow Storm Vermin. Fantastic. I do hope that we can make this work. Losing 2 blitzes with our Red Ogre in consecutive turns is pretty bad. He can move his cage around as he pleases pretty much, because we can't attack it effectively. And we need our Red Ogre to do so, and he just doesn't want to do anything. And he still has his blitz, so he'll probably go for one of our gutter runners. At least that's what I would do. Yeah, he'll blitz here again to secure this cage edge. And let's see what happens. No armor break, luckily. On the upside, he's committing to this side very much, which means that we can stay in his way easier. And let's put him there. The big question is, can we keep him away well enough to slow him down in a meaningful way? Of course, we will go for the Red Ogre Blitz once more, and I really hope that it works this time. Because if it doesn't 3 turns in a row, things will start to get really problematic. So let's see. Oh, he finally decides to move. And the block is successful as well. So we'll count that as a success, I think. And what we'll do now is put him here. And then we will block here. That's just a push, but it does get Hysteria away from that Longbeard. The big question is now, do I want to dodge here? And I don't think I do. Because it's an unnecessary risk. It would allow us to put him about here. And he will now try to use Dauntless. But if he failed that dodge, we wouldn't have rerolled that. And he would have just been able to move his Longbeard to here. Ah, he... Okay. And Chuckles is injured, so... Another successful match for Chuckles, and he also gets a niggling injury. And I won't use the Apothecary on that, to be honest. Which pretty much means that Chuckles is now out of the team. And I'll have to think about hiring a replacement if we want to actually do that. So far the Red Ogre has been not very reliable for us. We do have the money to actually get a replacement after this match. But we might sustain some more casualties, which we need to replace first. The big problem we're facing now is that he has the upper hand on players. He's up 3 players. And we are missing some of our key pieces, which will make it extremely difficult for us to do something here. So we probably can't keep him from scoring, and we will have to focus on damage control, meaning that we want to keep our gutter runners as safe as possible. But of course we also want to still slow him down, and we'll do our best to do that, and maybe he'll make a mistake of some sort or have some bad rolls which will allow us to get something done here. And that's a 1 immediately, and I won't reroll that. Yeah, that's the big problem. 1 can ruin your whole day, and so far we are getting them and he is not. Which once more makes it extremely hard for us to do anything. And even though we haven't lost a match so far with our Skaven team, it is very unlikely to stay that way if the roads continue to be the way they are. I don't think we could have handled that differently. The only thing we could have done is not use the Red Ogre, but that still would have meant that we couldn't have gotten into his cage, because the only other players we could have been able to use would have been the Storm Vermin, and against all that guard we probably wouldn't have gotten a solid blitz in. That's why I chose to use the Red Ogre, and it unfortunately just backfired, and now he's completely out of the team, which doesn't make things easier for us. We can just hope that he'll won't destroy our team, and that we get to that we have a solid chance at a draw with our scoring ability. But he is KOing and injuring our players left and right, as we are used to by now. And he's doing 1 dice blocks. And we are just getting pretty much shown up here. There's nothing we can really do about that. And I think I will be the coward and just get our gutter runners away from him. We can't put ourselves in his way. We have 5 players off the pitch, so we have 6 remaining, and that just won't help us. That's not nearly enough to do anything with. So we will try to salvage our players as much as possible and hope for a better second half. And then we get blocks like this, so even when we try to do something, we actually can't. And that of course doesn't make it any easier. And we fail dodges constantly. I'm sorry if I'm a bit salty about that, but it is just a little bit sad in my opinion. I think the last time we had such bad rolls, I already talked about that. I wouldn't have a problem to lose if we actually played bad or our opponent just played better, but in my opinion we are having this problem because we have a lot of bad rolls. Of course, you can say that using the Red Ogre for this important stuff is a mistake, and I would agree. But then again, we didn't really have another good option or choice to do anything here. And we can't just handle losing that many players and failing that many dodges or wild animal rolls. Which is why I believe that it is mainly due to the rolls that we are in this bad situation at the moment. I still hope that we can turn it around in the second half, and we still have our one-turn touchdown potential, in theory at least. So everything is still possible, but he now has 2 turns remaining to do 1 dice again for some reason, and be rewarded for it. We won't use the apothecary on that. So now we have 5 players remaining, and we can't even go for the stupid action and try to dodge into 3 tackle zones and blitz him, because of guard. Our blitz is just that bad. So we won't even attempt it, unfortunately. We will use the blitz here and hope that maybe we get something. That's just all I can say now. We can't put any sort of pressure on him. And he will try to get our gutter on us. And we just have to live with that. So he's pretty much in complete control at the moment. And that's the big strength of the Dwarf team. They are very slow, but if they get the upper hand and can play out their strength, which is a lot of tackle, a lot of guard, a lot of block, they are very hard to break open. And he managed that, and we failed with our attempt to break his cage. And that's the result, basically, of that. But we are a Skaven, and what Skaven do best is handling the ball. And we can just hope to make something work at a later turn. The problem we are having here now is that we have put ourselves in a corner. So he's now using his rerolls to reroll blocks, and he can pretty much serve us in the next turn. And now he's doing 2 going for it, so he's playing very risky, and he's once more getting rewarded for it. And we will now be forced to dodge away from there or risk getting our gutter runners injured. But first we will make one last attempt to get into the cage, and we can't even make that happen. So so he might actually surface here as well. He can do that if he thinks of it, if he tries. But let's just do this and hope that we get away from there. And we will leave Panic on the ground. He might decide to foul, but I doubt it, because he wants to score now. So you'll probably just do the block here and then go for the touchdown. At least that would be the safe option. He hasn't displayed the safe up play so far, at least in some of his choices. But I do believe he will just... Now he will try one last blitz with his Troll Slayer, apparently. And that is enough. And he gets the injury off on Hysteria. So once more we have lost our Gutter Runner, and I do believe that this will be in fact our first loss. We have taken heavy casualties, and there were a lot of key players among them. So as long as there isn't a miracle happening, we will have a very hard time to make this work in some meaningful way. Luckily, all of our chaos came back, which is at least part of what we needed. But it still doesn't help us that much. But of course he did play very well, and we can't dispute that and won't dispute that, so we will of course congratulate him on his touchdown. So I do believe we will once more try to get the one turn touchdown. It won't be easy, especially because of all of that guard. But we still have to try, in my opinion. There's just nothing else to do, really. So we will push him there, and let me check. We will push him to there, there, there. Okay, so we will keep him here. Oh no, I believe we need that assist. And knowing our luck, we will now get a perfect defense result, which will result in him changing his complete defense. No, he gets an extra reroll, which won't help him this half. Okay, so we will do the one dice. That's... no. Nah, and I misclicked. And that is just dumb. So I pretty much killed our chances by sheer stupidity this time. So we will go for the pass to get Carl some SPP. He needs them. And that actually worked for once. And let's see if we can do this. That misclick is really dumb. But there's just nothing we can do about it, so let's end our turn and get the halftime. I was wondering why I couldn't move. He's setting up his players. Let's see how he ends up setting up his defense. And this is basically the textbook example of the 2-1 grind, which is what every bash team is going for. They will always want to receive in the first half, score on turn 8, which forces us to score as fast as possible so that we have a chance at winning still. And so we'll probably score in maybe 2 turns. And that leaves him the 6 remaining turns to grind us down again and get his second touchdown, which leaves the end result as 2-1. So that's the 2-1 grind. And because of his guard, we will have a hard time breaking through that. But we will try. And we need only 3 players on the line. So I'm pretty much giving up these blocks because we can't make them happen anyway. But instead we'll go for we'll just go for the blitz and the push into his deep into his half of the pitch, so that we can score as quickly as we want to. We can't really stall. We don't have the players for that, and he gets the perfect defense, so that pretty much kills our offensive chances right from the get-go, because he will just rearrange his players to get into contact with our line of scrimmage once more. That might end up creating a hole for us, but I doubt that he will make that mistake. So far he has displayed pretty solid gameplay, so we can't hope that he'll do that. But having 5 rerolls is pretty much the only oddity about his team. Dwarves don't need 5 rerolls. They don't even need 4 rerolls. 3 should be more than enough. They have so many good blocking skills that they really don't need 5 rerolls. And that's a bit odd. Will they actually leave this middle part right open here? And all we do here is under the assumption that we can actually get the touchdown. And we will do our best. Okay, so he's actually leaving a space for us to get through. And we'll probably get bashed pretty bad, but we have to go for it anyways. We don't really have a choice about it. And our biggest problem remains, even though we get blocks, even if it's just the blitz, we can't get good blocks. So we don't even get a chance to do anything to his players, basically. Which is pretty bad, as is obvious. And I would like to go here, but I can't. And I don't want to do the going for it. So let's do the risky thing. We need to occupy as much of his players as we can. And that also means that we will try to spread out our gutter runners a bit, so he can't keep track of them all. That of course puts us in a very dangerous situation. Do we want to put all of our gutter runners there? I think we have to put them all into scoring range, unfortunately. Our defense is really lacking at the moment. And we just have to hope that we can make this work. We want to stay out of range of his dwarf players. So let's go back to the middle and leave it at that. But I do believe we will risk the dodge here. And we fail. I should have expected that, and we rolled a 1 once more. We won't reroll that. So yeah, I think we can all agree that this is another pretty problematic match for us. I'll still try my best to make it work somehow, but I think you can all understand if I won't be able to. It's not for a lack of trying, at least. I won't give up, I promise you that. And he's moving up close to our... trying to get to our thrower, so we'll be able to get to him next turn if we won't move. But of course we want to move and pass actually. So now he has two choices, or he has several several good actions. In fact, he needs to he pretty much needs to mark up all of our gutter runners. He doesn't want to leave them as they are now, and he can also reduce our movement options for our thrower to pass. So he's also doing that at the moment, but we still have a decent vantage point at the moment, I believe. But he does leave this gutter runner unprotected. That is enough. Both down. And Cackle gets stunned, unfortunately. But he does get this one here, so our gutter runners will have to deal with at least one tackle zone. If we don't dodge them away first. So where do we want to go? The problem we're having now is that a better throw? It isn't. But it won't give him any... won't give him an intercept chance, I believe. So I think we will go here and make the throw. Because if we get the choice... So now he definitely won't be able to intercept. And if we get the choice, I don't want to make the touchdown with panic. We need to level up our gutter runners. Oh, he could intercept. We don't catch the ball. We roll a 1 once more. Can we catch the ball on a reroll? No, we roll a 2. So that's the thing once more. And now he can do what dwarves do best, which is pummel us into the ground. Or into oblivion, probably even more fitting. He gets a defender down once more. Luckily no armor break. And that's good. A double skull followed by double skulls in a reroll would be appreciated. The only upside is, because most of his team is focused down here, if he fails to pick up the ball, we will get another chance at it. But, or can he, where are his runners, actually? And he gets a lot of armor breaks once more, which will be a big problem, even if it's only stun. So we are 4 players down, I believe. So every player that we can't use that is on the pitch is another hindrance for us. And now he's focusing on securing the ball rather than picking it up. And we will have to do some stupid stuff again to try and better our odds. Oh, so there's one of his runners. Will he pick up the ball? I would love for him to actually fail a roll for once, and that's just plain annoying at the moment. Everything he does is working, and we fail at the simplest things once more. And because of his guard, we don't even get a semi-decent chance at doing something here. So let me think this through. Can I... He has guard, he does not. So we probably just want to do this one dice, to be honest. As stupid as it is. We don't have a better option at the moment. And that worked for once. And please be a good scatter. Be nice to us for once. And it's a bad scatter. It's a very bad scatter for us. But let's try to make it work anyways. Because that is what we do, of course. We'll leave laughter on the ground. So we need to dodge and pick up. We will dodge, we will pick up, we will dodge and dodge again. That works. And now comes the last part. And it... I'm really happy that worked. So at least we got a level up, because we threw with Cackle, who had 5 SPP. So he's at 6 now, and Panic scored. It doesn't make our situation any less problematic, but at least we won't go out of the match without any SPP. And because of that touchdown, we still have a fighting chance. And we will do our best to keep the draw or pull out a win. It's still highly unlikely that we will be able to do so, but we'll try. And I believe I do actually want to put them apart, because if we would place a guard player here and here, if we had left him there, he could get very easy assists without having to commit too much players on the line of scrimmage. Setting up the way we did now, he is forced to commit more players or just get 1 dice blocks. So we negated his guard pretty much. It's not a very big help for us, but at this point every small thing counts, I believe. And maybe he'll fail something so that we can go after him once more. So we can't really protect our gutter runners anymore, and we need to, I believe we need to set them up this way. In case something goes wrong, we need to be able to get to the ball. So for example, if he fails the pickup, it's unlikely because he's got sure hands. So he's got that automatic reroll. But it still might, and if we keep our gutter runners too far back, we won't be able to make use of such a potential failure. And even if it sounds stupid, I still believe that banking on actions like this, so a failed pickup or stuff like that, is our best option at the moment. It's not a real tactic, as we are all very well aware, but yeah, we have all seen what the dwarves can do and what they are doing to us. So, you know, I'm running out of ideas, basically. And Blood Bowl, of course, having rerolls means that we have to rely on luck at some point, sometimes. And I still find it odd that the animations don't play on a both down. And I think that somehow defeats the purpose of the animations altogether. And that kick is very good for us, actually, because we can get to the ball, but it's only good for us if he doesn't manage to pick up the ball. If he picks up the ball, it's actually really bad for us, because he is already at the line of scrimmage, and that's another injury. Badly hurt. We won't reroll that. So if he picks up the ball, we would have liked him to be back here, close to his touchdown zone, so that he would have needed at least 2 turns to get to the line of scrimmage, and if he picks it up now, he actually is already halfway there. And we're now 5 players down, so we've got 6 remaining once more. And seeing my KO box, I'm suddenly overwhelmed by the urge to play a bash team myself, but I'm sure that will pass at some point. And for once, he couldn't get our gutter runner. He's still pushing him into a good position for him. And he can't really build a very good cage, but it should probably be enough because we can't get there as well. He did fail the first pickup try, but the sure hands saved him there. Please fail that. He doesn't. Okay, so now of course the only thing we can do is, as always, is to try and slow him down. So we will do that. Having the gutter runner here is very risky because he could be served. So we will try to protect him now. I forgot about his frenzy, to be honest. That's why I made that mistake. And we will have to protect him now, basically. So we'll put panic over there. And I have to be honest, I will go for survivability over actual offense now. Because keeping our remaining players alive is more important than keeping him from scoring. And that's just in line with everything else, I suppose. Let's reroll that. So we get a lot of ones, unfortunately. I believe we have to stand up Catastrophe, unfortunately. He will just get blocked away again, but it is a block he will have to do. And we still can hope for misses or unlucky rolls. Something along the lines of double skull, reroll double skull would be very pleasant at this point. But I won't believe we will actually see that. I don't believe. That's what I want to say. And that's the stop. Well, I started this video saying we hadn't met the real bash teams yet. We can't say that anymore. And we still haven't met the worst one, Chaos. So actually the worst one that is in the game at the moment. Our team value, Chaos, isn't as bad, but the higher the team value gets, the worse it gets when you play against Chaos. Their mutation skills come in and they just wreck us. They're probably worse against, or let's say it's probably worse against other bash teams like Dwarves, since Claw negates the armor, but we don't have good armor, so Claw won't be a problem, but they'll also have skills like Mighty Blow, Tackle, Piling On, and stuff like that, and that's a big problem. So he managed to get over there, and now he will rebuild his cage, and we are pretty much out of position and can't do anything to stop him. So that's a textbook 2-1 grind. There's just nothing bad to say about it, but it is one of the reasons I dislike bash teams and usually don't play them, because I do find this playstyle to be a bit boring most of the time. I completely understand why people like it. The bashing is a lot of fun, and I do like to bash myself. But I like the possibilities of agility teams a lot more, even though I'm constantly regretting my choices here. But that's just part of the agility experience. You get games where you totally dominate your opponent and get the ball away from him in the absurdest situations. And then there are games like this, and that's another perfect example for everything we have experienced. Even when we really need the rolls and we just don't get them. And I'm getting a bit sad because of that. But at least I can still laugh about it, so it's fine. And that's why I'm doing stupid one dice here as well. We might possibly get the lucky injury in. I don't believe we will, but I don't really care at this point anymore. We tried our best. The dice didn't give us the opportunity to actually do something. So the only thing we can do now is pretty much just take it and hope that he won't destroy any of our players. He already did destroy one of them. The other one is just a miss next game and the rest is badly hurt, so not that bad. But still. And that's also the reason why I saved the apothecary, because I was afraid something like this would actually happen, and our gutter runners are just a lot more valuable to us than our red ogre is. And considering that we do have a lot of money saved up, and we'll get more money after this match, we should be able to replace him if we want to. I'm not sure about that yet, and I will not decide it after this match. I will need to think about it. And I think you can all understand why. So far, the Red Ogre hasn't worked out for us at all, and I have mostly cursed about him. And I can curse once more because dodge is apparently just a cosmetic skill at this point. So I assume no, he doesn't have guard here. So we get the one dice again. Yay! And of course we want to keep Cackle safe, because Cackle did get the level up. So I might as well do the stupid thing one last time and hope for the best, actually. So we will do the stupid dodge, which is a 5+, and a 2 dice against block. And that's pretty much our last attempt. And I actually don't want to reroll. And I was talking about protecting our gutter runner Cackle here and then forgot to move him out of the way. So he will now blitz him. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is with the Skaven at the moment. And he now, of course, can afford to use his rerolls for early blitzes and blocks. I do think I'm a fairly decent player, but I do struggle with the Skaven at the moment. We can't get any real wins in, and most of our matches end in a draw. And of course we will lose this one. That's pretty much written in stone by now. And I'm not sure where the problem is. I am inclined to blame the dice, which I have already done this match. But I'm not sure if it is actually the dice or if I'm making some major misplays with them. For example, the Red Ogre. I really like the Red Ogre. And I want to use him, but maybe I should use him differently and don't rely on him as much, but instead use him as a roadblock more. But I'm just not sure, to be honest. So I guess we'll do the avoidance now, and that's just perfect. And stuff like this is just the reason I think it's not actually the choices I make, but it is the roads, and we're just in a bit of a slump, and it will get better, or should get better, maybe, possibly. So I guess basically what I'm saying is, if you see any major misplays on my part or have anything to comment on my Skaven gameplay, just do so. I'm still able to learn, I think, and I still want to learn. So if I can improve on the team somehow, I want to do so, of course. And I don't believe... Yeah, okay, he's going to surf us now. So he's going for pretty much total destruction right now. That doesn't even give him any SPP if he manages to do so. Luckily, we didn't get injured here. And he'll just stall this one out and score on turn 16. And that will complete the 2-1 grind. It had to happen at some point. So it's still okay, I guess. I really would have liked this game to go differently. Especially considering the start, the blitz we got. But it pretty much went downhill once the ball scattered in a very bad place for us, and he managed to get to our gutter runners as pretty much as well as he did. So he's got guard, he's got guard. We'll go for 2 last blocks. Probably won't matter, but let's do it anyways. Maybe. Oh, we did get an injury in. At least one. And it's a permanent one. So, misfortune. Got fortunate. Haha. And finally did something here. And maybe another one. Nope, just a stun. But getting injuries in against dwarves isn't really easy. They have armor value 9 and thick skull, which makes them extremely durable. And I'm at least happy that we got 2 more SPP out of that one. And he will be greedy, actually, and go for a blitz before he scores. maybe? We'll see. Looks like it. And in the end, it still was a good match. He played a very solid dwarf game. That greedy bit here at the end is it's just greedy. Let's leave it at that. Of course, it's very likely to work, but I probably still wouldn't have done it, because he is risking his win with these blocks and unnecessary blitzes in the last turn. As long as they work for him, it's fine, but I still want to point out that it's unnecessary to do so. And I'm not just saying it because I was afraid that he would injure another one of my players. Yeah, well, that's the match, and he won 2-1. And so we finally lost the match. We should have lost one sooner against the Orc team that disconnected against us in an earlier episode, and we got lucky there. But still, and Misfortune also got the MVP, so he leveled up actually, and I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, so let's check our level ups before we end this episode. And we'll start with Misfortune, as he is our MVP. And that's just a standard level up. And so with Skaven, we have the choice between block and wrestle on the lineman. And I will go with wrestle in this case, because we should focus on creating openings for us, and wrestle does so a lot more reliably than block. That's my main reasoning against it, for it. Yeah, got that mixed up. Because if our opponent has block and we have block and we roll both down, we just remain standing, but with wrestle we will put him on the ground and create a possible opening for us. So I think that will be better for us, which is why I'm going with wrestle. Yes, I want to confirm that one. I think part of our problem lies with our gutter runners. I do like the level ups they have gotten, the mutation skill and the plus movement allowance, but it also diverts them from the usual path, and one of the usual first skills for them is block. And block dodge just makes the gutter runners a lot harder to actually block away, as long as the opponent doesn't have tackle as well. And so let's see what we get here. We get an 11, so we will once more not go for block, but we will take the plus agility. I can't be mad about that. I do want to take block at some point, but agility 5 is just too strong on a gutter runner. We have to take it. I'm not sure where we should go with his development now, but getting an agility plus on a gutter runner is very powerful, actually. So now skills like leap can be words, grammar stuff. Skills like leap become a lot more useful because a leap is now a 2+ instead of a 3+ with agility, as it would be with agility 4. So we might eventually get him to leap, maybe. I'm not sure what his next skill should be, but we will think about that one once we actually get there. And so Chuckles got a niggling injury, which is why I want to... Shouldn't he have the niggling? Yeah, okay, so I only read the first part, the broken neck. So he's got a damaged back, which is a niggling injury, which of course means he will be easier to injure, and that is why we don't want to keep him, unfortunately. And that's why this is goodbye for Chuckles. And as I've already said, I need to think about... I need to think if I actually want to replace him. Let's check what a new one would cost. It would cost us almost all of our money. Which isn't a big problem, of course, because we have the money for it. And we want to spend some, because we are over 150,000 gold pieces, and so our team value is 300 higher, 30 higher than we would want. So we will spend the money anyways, but we might spend it on the lineman instead, or maybe a second thrower. But it's still not completely out of the question that we will get a replacement Red Ogre and try to make it work again. But that's a choice I will make before our next match, and not now. But yeah, the episode was still more or less successful because we did get that conceit win. I'm still not happy about, but we got a level up out of it, and I do believe that the Mighty Blow will help us against any team that isn't Dwarves or Orcs. So hopefully we can make that work in the next match. And that is all for today, I believe. So thanks for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this episode regardless of the actual outcome. If you did, I would appreciate a like or a comment. And if you want to see me get semi-salty more, you can just subscribe and see if I will actually get good with our Skaven. Or maybe I will just do Lizardmen from now on. Probably not. I do still have a lot of fun with the Skaven, so we will of course keep doing them. But that is it for today. I hope you stick around, and as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in next time. Bye.